Nope.
Good to go?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Um, Just a little light conversation on just the markets lately, how they've been behaving, how everyone doing. I kind of want to gauge the room first. Um, I'll go first. I want like just a couple sentences, right? I haven't been trading as much. The market hasn't been giving me my strategy or edge or whatever hasn't been showing up in the markets as much. So I've just kind of been risk off. Um, that's kind of where I'm at. How's everyone else feeling right now? Donkey, you first.
Just I think it's a nice, crazy range market for good 20-minute scouts, but a little bit more my style. I have three trades today. Breakout even along to the top of range, a short back to the bottom. And I didn't take the long back to the top, but that would have been a good one too.
Caden, how about you?
Uh, Doing good. Just focusing on really dialing in the fundamentals of what it's going to take for this to become a career someday. So just dialing in fundamentals, but market-wise, I'm with you. I mean, it's been very hard to actually catch these, you know, to get in with the trend outside of a scalp, to be honest, for me in my system. But learning, just learning.
Ryan, you able to talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Just how's your read on the market lately? How you doing?
I've been sick all week, so I haven't traded.
You
Yeah,
got
I
the
haven't traded
flu or
since last
what?
Thursday. Yeah. Yeah.
That sucks. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll jump in and just say, yeah, the markets have definitely been. There's some crazy moves recently. I haven't. I only took one trade this week. Right, sorry, two. And the second one was just a stop hit. So I'm doing a lot of trade crafting and just kind of system development. So I'm gonna just kind of do that between market conditions.
Has this caught anyone off guard by chance? Is anyone just kind of completely flabbergasted by what's going on? And if not, I mean that's cool. Nope.
No, I think I don't know how to put it in like a past tense term, but like the flabbergasted aspect of it is just how was my like high time frame context just not so locked into short. Stay away from longs. Just we're looking for shorts, and that's kind of what I'm flabbergasted about internally. But I mean, it was obvious, right? We were talking about it for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the markets are going through a rough patch. I mean, just to say the least. So I kind of wanted to talk tonight about edge. Um, you know, right now for like SFP traders, it's tough because there hasn't really been a whole lot of SFPs. It's been tough for anybody, dude. This market's tough. It's a de-risking market, right? It's not a risk-on environment. Uh, and you can see that by gold being at $5,000 and silver ripping its face off, right? And the dollar, you know, doing what it's doing and all the uncertainty in the world. So I'm going to speak to my edge and my strategy, which is, liquidity grab. And there just hasn't been a whole lot of those. Does anyone want to take a stab at maybe why that is?
Why there's no liquidity
Enough
grab?
people are pulling money out of the market.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bosco kind of hit the nail on the head there. I mean, that's part of it, right? Is just money's coming out of the market, which is just exacerbating the moves down. What do we need in order for SFPs
We're
to
not
work
consolidating
right?
at all. We're just flowing downhill.
For SFPs to work.
Yeah, for SFPs to work, what do we need? What's the formula for an SFP to work?
Well, liquidity.
Well, sure, but
Volume.
Trap
sure.
traders. Trap
There you go. You need people who are wrong, right? So we're trading against people who are wrong. I mean, that's the context of an SFP is we're taking the other side of traders who are wrong, right? There's a lot less wrong traders right now because the markets are freaking dumping, right? So there's a lot less traders who are wrong right now. People are de-risking. And then to add to what Bosco said, yeah, because people are de-risking and pulling money out of the markets, we're just ripping, man. I mean, I can't tell you how many days that I've sat down at the charts at 7:30 and we're already dumping. Like I don't even get a chance. You know what I mean? It's just going. Liquidity, due to what Mitch said, liquidity is drying up big time. As a matter of fact, Bitcoin's market depth right now, and this is the order book buffer for absorbing big buys and sells. So this is a big part of liquidity grabs, right? It's over 30% below its October peak. So October was the peak. I mean, it was the top of the market. And that's when the order book depth was the highest. So we are actually at post FTX levels right now, which is crazy. If you think about it, that's insane that we're at the liquidity right now is at post FTX levels. And we're not even like, if the matrix is real and Bitcoin's going to do what it's going to do, we still got more downside in us, and we're already post FTX levels for liquidity. So it just jumps, right? Price doesn't I don't know, meander around and give us those wicks like we're used to. It just jumps. When you have modest flows like we've been having, sharp moves happen without the usual grabs or sweeps, above or below highs. And that's why, all those factors are likely why we're seeing Bitcoin just kind of take off or dump in this case lately, without grabs. There's just fewer breakouts. Fake outs, I should say, because there's just less depth to hunt. And then, the algos and institutions are having to adapt, just like everyone's having to adapt. We're seeing levels get front ran or just avoiding those setups altogether. Everyone kind of get that? Feel that way?
Just thinking how you said that the liquidity levels is like FTX levels. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I never associated like the market conditions affecting how you trade with SFPs, but the way you break it down makes total sense. There's just not a lot of deep liquidity or volumes to trap traders, and so I mean that kind of methodology is challenged at this point just because of market conditions. That's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah,
Where do
but
you
go ahead, Ryan.
Where are you drawing that data from for the FTX liquidity level comparison? Or what does that mean exactly?
Cicada Ventures.
Okay.
So I guess the next question would be, if you anticipate that every trader is on the right side of the trade still for the last, what are we in, week 3 of this latest dump? That if we do hit a bottom, the rebound could be big because the SFP, because the trap traders are further away.
I think that's making big leaps of judgment. I mean, I guess my brain doesn't work like that. I think at some point here we'll start chopping sideways again. I mean, do you guys remember when we did this? Ryan, I know you remember because I think we did like a whole lesson on a comment you made in the trading questions channel, TA questions. But do you remember this?
Yeah, that's was the worst trading week of my life, trying to grab every fucking short.
I mean, that's inverse it and it's this, right? Inverse it and it's this, right? Inverse it and it's this or this. And we can go back. I mean, you can go all the way back to to the bear market, right? It's this, which is kind of where we're at right now. If the matrix is real, this is where we're at. You know, it doesn't last forever. Markets will find a rhythm, but it's the same thing. So, you know, do breakout traders always have a crazy amount of breakouts in the market? No, of course not. Do bounce traders or does everyone's edge always just appear in the market at all times? No, of course not. You know, this is just this market that we're in right now is just not very conducive to, you know, SFPs. It's not. It's you catch it and you hold on to it. What do you do? You know what I mean? There's no pullbacks. There's no grabs. It's just dumping every day. But the good news is this will pass, right? We're not going to just dump forever. But if history is a teacher, you know, there's going to be more moves like this, right? Like we're going to flag out for a while, it's going to dump again, and then maybe we kind of get into more of a crazy, not crazy, but more ranges, right? Where the edge and liquidity builds, and then we take liquidity as opposed to just kind of risk off, which is the market environment, right? And it's not just Bitcoin, right? I mean, you look at NQ, it's had some pretty gnarly dumps in recent memory, right? It had this, you know, a year-long bear market, same time Bitcoin did, right? November 2021 to what? November 2022, December 2022, something like that. Little cleaner structure. You know, I can just look at this and say, you know, swept the high, didn't sweep the high, but you know, here too. So it's not just like Bitcoin in a vacuum. It's just everything right now. I mean, today NQ just right out of the gate just started dumping and just never looked back, right? Yes. How about other reasons why? And this might not even be an SFP specific thing, but breaks, bounces. It's just bearish and distribution bias, right? Like structure just looks like crap overall. I mean, the stock markets don't look great. We've been chopping sideways for since what, September, right? Since September of 2025. It's just been sideways.
Yeah, we've
So I
actually not
also
had
think,
like a capitulation at all in a while since that. Like we just rolled downhill. Like there's
yeah,
nothing
we're going to
like.
talk about that actually.
Yeah, I think if the NQ and the ES start giving it up with some momentum, Bitcoin's going to go down and have a 10K negative candle.
So piggyback on what I said, like everything's just been like, first of all, like in crypto, right? Altcoins haven't done shit. They're not doing shit. Bitcoin's dumping. It's down what, 50, 60K from its all-time high. You have NQ and ES chopping sideways for, you know, damn near half a year. How about fatigue? You think traders are fatigued?
Well, I got a question on that one. So, I mean, probably a lot of the kind of breakout traders and retail traders, they're probably left right now because conditions suck. But the big money, right? I would think that the big money that's more calculated and slow, like, I mean, they're probably riding the price, down slowly, offloading, slowly offloading. So it's probably like different participants, right? At different stages like now.
Sorry, I was not at the mic. Yes, traders are probably exhausted, and the farmer's chart is playing out 26 year to sell.
Robert, I think so. Yeah, Rich, you're right. And then Robert, I think sure, but I think that's how the markets always are. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not like whether we're going up or
That's
down or
something.
sideways. I think that's just how the markets are. I just think just a lot of people. I mean, even hedge funds and I don't want to necessarily say hedge funds because they're not like scalping a 5-minute chart, right? Like maybe some trading houses are and stuff like Jane Street. Hedge funds are positioning a little bit differently. But I think lull fatigue is a portion. Like traders are like these conditions have been dragging on for months, right? And my assumption is that retail trading, like this, has led to over trading. We're missing the real moves, right? So makes it tough, man. People just kind of check out. which I think is why we're seeing the markets just go sideways. Like, we haven't capitulated, we haven't pumped. It's just been sideways. Bitcoin's dumping, people are de-risking, alts are in the dirt.
Do their dirt. They're below dirt.
So cool. Does anyone have any input on anything so far, or questions? Otherwise, if not, I think me and Brian are going to kind of start a conversation, and then hopefully y'all kind of jump in. It's on this kind of the same topic.
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do.
Who was just going to hop in and say something?
Oh no, that was Robert. I was saying I ain't got anything, but yeah, I'd love to listen in.
You there, Brian?
I'm here.
Mr. Maverick. You remember the question you kind of asked earlier? It was kind of and I said park it for later.
Yeah, it was basically gold is the fear trade, right? So it's the debasement trade. It's where money goes for security. It's at all-time highs. And if the stock market's at all-time highs, somebody's wrong.
Yep.
And how long do we stay at this level where this trade is, both sides can't be right?
Yes, so I actually went and tried to look back at the last big like market dump that I was a part of. That wasn't the Trump election dump, and that was the bear market of 2021 for stocks, right? I'm specifically talking, well, stocks and crypto was the same, right? And then I went to try to look back and say, well, what was gold doing then, right? And it was in this, just a big sideways range, right? Like, this is where it was like half of it down, half of it up to the top of the channel, but it didn't break out until 2024 of this just sideways range. So I guess my point that I'm making here is, like, even in 2021, when everything was crashing, gold wasn't skyrocketing. Like, it wasn't doing this, right? It wasn't going crazy out of control. So we have something that I've never been a part of. I would imagine no one in here has been a part of that, because like it hasn't really happened. I guess maybe in 2019, right? A little bit, but I wasn't really paying attention like I am now. But we had a decent run up in 2019. So yeah, so somebody's wrong. Who's wrong, right?
Well, where do you think that money is going to go? Right? Because that's trillions of dollars in gold. And it's when gold crashes, that money's going to flow somewhere, right? So I guess that's the question, right?
Yeah,
The
and
question is, where's the money coming from?
well,
Right?
it's coming out of everything, right? And then the question is, why is the stock market not capitulating, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we know that Bitcoin's capitulating. We know that altcoins. So I mean, that makes sense. But that's it doesn't even like pale in comparison to the market cap rise in gold, right? Like, it's a tiny sliver of it. So why are stocks sideways and gold's at $5,000?
I think
Because
that
Bitcoin.
I think that it's the information. I know because say back then there wasn't YouTube or whatever. So I'm thinking this era now, there's so much information that people are jumping into everything. So yes, on YouTube, invest in stocks, invest in this, invest in gold, invest in this. So everything is probably going up from smart money and dumb money and everything. So um I guess that's my take out of it.
What do you think, Brian?
My take is there's been a theory for years, and there's a book called The Gold Wars. There's that fiat money cannot allow gold to run because it shows that fiat money is weak. And what I'm trying to figure out is that thesis actually breaking, and gold has broken the paper gold market, whatever you want to say, and is actually repricing and entering price discovery. Because a fiat money cannot have a hard asset like gold run because it shows weakness. If you look at Fed chairs in the past, they've always said gold is dead, gold doesn't have value. But you have 2,000 years of human history to show that it does. That's in a nutshell kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think it's a tough. I mean, none of us know what's going to happen. I mean, let's just put that out into the world, right? But gold, like Brian said, it's a screaming alarm bell. It is, and it's for uncertainty, right? All the geopolitical stuff, Fed drama, debt fears, tariffs, but somehow the S&P 500 is still hovering around the same level it's been hovering around for months, and it's not dumping like they should in a classic risk off meltdown, right? So, part of, I think, the thesis is that it is not, I don't think it's the whole answer, but I think a part of it is that a weak dollar is propping up equities. Cause I mean, that just makes sense to me, unless like someone wants to try to argue the other side. That just makes sense in my head, but I don't think it's the full story. And it might not even be like the dominant story right now. I mean, it is weak. You look at the dollar chart, and it's actually been weak since the top up here in 2022, which was again the top of, that's when everything crashed, right? Um, so yeah, I think that's part of it. Weak dollar, I think it's a partial boost because when the dollar's weak, revenues from abroad can flow in easier, right? I think things like earnings and economic resilience are obviously still in play. Paul has continuously described the economy as firm, right? Decent factory data, no giant, I mean, according to them, no giant recession signals yet. Um, Corporate profits still look good, right? Like we're seeing good earnings come out still. So it's not like screaming recession. I think John mentioned earlier today, like you're seeing a little bit. So NQ dumped harder than the S&P and the Dow, right? And it's kind of been doing that. Like tech's been dragging the Nasdaq down. And why do you think the Nasdaq is down right now more than, or the moves down are more exaggerated than like the Dow or the S&P 500? Anyone want to take a stab at that?
It's got the bigger market cap tech companies.
What do you think,
More than
Rich?
drill down.
I'm saying AI is eating software.
Yep, 100%. 100%. So it's the Nasdaq's down more on AI fears, right? Software disruption. But the Dow, for example, is holding near highs on what? Like, where's the rotation going into? Industrials, healthcare. And let's pause on AI for a second. And Brian, we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. I think there's been a little fear in the market that AI is a bubble. And I think that's a logical fear. There's stupid money going into AI. And Brian, when we talked earlier, we talked about the fact that like there's not a single AI company out there that's even close to being in profit. I think maybe a couple like the small ones that nobody uses are OpenAI, Grok, losing billions and billions and billions of dollars. Like they're not even close to turning a profit, and they're all being propped up, right? So Nvidia's propping up Grok, right? And all these, I don't know who's propping up OpenAI, but a bunch of companies are, right? Microsoft, I think, right? So who's going to
Yeah.
be left holding the bag there? But I think gold surge is usually the canary in the coal mine, right? It's usually a whisper of trouble ahead. And we're also seeing central banks buying gold and silver.
Yeah, there's not a central bank that's a net buyer of U.S. Treasuries right now.
Yep.
So then that leads the question, how are we funding the $2 trillion deficit we run every year if there's not a net buyer?
You
We-
dump the dollar and make it
just-
more serviceable.
Print more money.
Well, you
Which
do
should
what the,
make Bitcoin go up.
well, do you want to go down that rabbit hole? I don't know that you're gonna
Always.
like. I don't know that you're
Hey,
gonna like my answer. But look,
Just give us some samples.
we'll go there. We will go there. But does gold lead, or does I'm having a
gold
sneezing attack over
typically
here.
leads and then Bitcoin follows.
Yeah, gold usually leads as a smart money hedge, right? And then to what Robert was saying, like, once the economy kind of chills out or the market gets the certainty that they want, people start de-risking, or not de-risking from gold, but going risk on again. I mean, it's like, if you boil it down to its most simple economics, right? Supply, demand, risk on, risk off. It's just risk off, like in its most simplest form right now. And the most risky asset of anything that we're talking about, I hate to say, is what?
The Bitcoins, the
Yep.
cryptos.
That's why they're the first to go. But when the going's,
Yeah, they're all believers
It's
until the
good
price
when it's
starts coming
up.
down.
it's good when it's up, man, but when it comes down, it's violent and ugly. And it usually catches a lot of people off guard. I still think gold is, I mean, I don't think this. I mean, I don't know how anyone can argue that gold is anything. I'm sorry, that Bitcoin is still anything other than a speculative asset right now, because it's not a hedge against inflation, because Bitcoin's not going up right now. Gold is, right? It's still a heavily speculated asset that Jeffrey Epstein was behind. So you guys are all a bunch of pedos.
That's crazy.
You hold the
How come
most.
Epstein's in the Bitcoin racket?
Yeah, you hold the most, Ben.
So I think the weak dollar is helping, right? Especially for like exporters and stuff. But it's just one piece of the puzzle. But again, like, once policy and things stabilize, gold will correct, and Bitcoin will all grind higher like normal. All I was going to say about Bitcoin, Brian, is I think a lot of the narratives around Bitcoin they're just bust, man. Like, okay, ETF inflows, well, great, we're down $60,000. Michael Saylor, well, great, we're down $60,000. Like, the narrative was that the cycle's dead. I mean, I was screaming, it's not dead. Was I not, Nick? And everyone was like, it's dead.
Yeah. I think we all
So
were.
yeah, so, and I get it. I'm new to the group. But can we agree that the Bitcoin up cycle, the bull market, didn't look the same as past?
I think it looked exactly the same. The
And I know
timeline was
Explain the
the same.
matrix again.
So I mean, and I get your dates, and I do, and I'll play the devil's advocate. There's 21 million, and what we have happening right now, and I'll go out on a limb a little bit here and put myself out there, but there's only going to be 21 million. Quantum is not a threat to Bitcoin; it's a threat to your Bank of America account, right? So the quantum FUD doesn't matter. Institutions are here and they're accumulating Bitcoin, but they're long-term holders. So every time an institution accumulates Bitcoin, that Bitcoin's not moving, it's not trading. It's going into cold storage. The charts show that. And there's still only 21 million. 3 to 4 million of it's lost forever from the early days. And when you start breaking it down to what that's such a small number of available whole coiners left that the supply shock, I mean, Elon Musk, there's also, I can't remember the name of the company. They're like, if gold goes to 10,000 an ounce, they literally right now are developing a rocket to go to an asteroid to mine gold. It's not a, there's not a finite amount. You know what I mean? Like gold, right now, Bitcoin is the only asset in the world that there is a finite amount.
Sure, I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and I hold a lot of Bitcoin, right? So a part of me is with you, but a part of me is also a realist, and I know that I am betting on speculation. I don't know if Bitcoin will be here in 5 years. I hope it is. I hope it is for the sake of my bags, right? But let's look at like the digital gold store of value inflation hedge, right? That's the dominant was the dominant narrative last year, like forever. That's what it is. But it's failed the debasement test. Like a weak dollar and mathematical risks should have propelled it higher, but it didn't. It did the opposite, right? Institutional ETFs, right? You know, the narrative that institutions are buying right now, but the reality of it is spot coin bit ETFs have seen 3 straight months of net outflows, even as more um, banks, I guess, or fund managers, wealth managers, what do you want to call them, enable access to it, right? So whales, corporate selling, leverage unwind have outweighed all of that. You know, MicroStrategy's average cost is 76K right now. We're below it, right? We're below it. And he's way more leveraged than he was in 2022. And I think me and Donkey talked about, and I'm not talking you out of Bitcoin, dude. I'm just pushing back, right? I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Oh, I love it.
Um,
No, it's just, it strengthens my thesis. Go ahead.
So institutions aren't piling in relentlessly, right? Flows are negative, and Bitcoin's acting more like a crowded trade unwinding than a strategic reserve right now. Like in 2022, or sorry, in 2022 in the bear market, MicroStrategy was underwater this whole time right here, right? I don't know exactly how much Bitcoin they held in 2022. I'm sure we could, if someone wants to Google that real quick, that'd be awesome. But it's significantly less than they hold now. So their risk is much higher than it is now. I don't know. It's also I don't know what Michael Saylor's going to do. No one here knows what Michael Saylor's going to do. Is he going to be forced to sell? Is his stock going to go to? I have no idea, right? But I think, like Donkey has said, he could be the villain of this cycle. He could be. He could very well be the villain. You know, last cycle it was SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, and it was that dude from Grayscale. What was his name?
It'll come to me in a second.
And it was Do Kwon, right? Terra Luna. We haven't had any villains pop up yet. Like, I'm not saying it's gonna be Michael Saylor. I'm saying it very well could be if he's forced to sell.
But
132,500
what would
Bitcoin in
force
2022.
Sailor to sell? And I mean, he's not leveraged. That's the beauty of the preferreds.
He is leveraged.
No, he's not.
Oh,
His leverage
I'm
doesn't do
looking
here
at
for
his
borrowing,
stats
5
right
years.
now.
all kinds of
He's
money.
at 12% net leverage. Let me look and see. So right now he's at 12% net leverage. His annual dividends are 888 million, and he has a USD reserve of 2.2 billion in cash. He can sit for 2 years and pay dividends.
So I think there's a few. So he's got to service debt, right? So even if Bitcoin is unbothered, the company's still, or bothered on whatever, the company still has to service debt, right? So if cash flow tightens, credit markets freeze, if the holders demand safety, then Bitcoin becomes a source of liquidity, and it's no longer a religion, which Michael Saylor is the church of, strategy. So he doesn't have to want to sell, right? The balance sheet can force the decision.
I Ben, I mean,
if the equity of MicroStrategy collapses, right, and Bitcoin keeps bleeding, then like the economics worsen, right? They can hedge aggressively, they can manage pressure a little bit and exit in ways that they can maybe restructure a little bit, but that's just going to create persistent sell pressure, not like panic, not like straight line down to zero or anything like that. But it's not it's a non-zero chance that he's going to have to sell. It's not a 0% chance.
yeah, I mean, I can agree to a 0%. I guess, I mean, since we're going down this rabbit hole, I mean, do you put your faith in something that hasn't been hacked in 17 years? There's only going to be 21 million. It's an open source code. Or do you put your faith in the Senate and Congress on a fiat system that we're running a $2 trillion deficit? I mean, to me, it's a no brainer. It's a long term investment. You hold Bitcoin. Yes, the short term is very noisy and very ugly right now, but we're just early. And as they say, being early is just as bad as being wrong. But I don't think we're wrong. I just think we are so early.
So again, to put it in perspective, Brian, I hold more Bitcoin than I have in mine, my wife's, my bank accounts, my IRA, my investment accounts, right? So I'm with you. I am with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, no, and I mean, it's a good conversation. Please, yeah, no.
I also know it is still speculation. It is. As much as I want it to be all those things that I just rattled off, the market hasn't proven that to be it. It has not proven to be a hedge against inflation. It has not proven to be digital gold yet, right? It has not proven to escape the cycles. And these are all the narratives that everyone says. And until it does, that's the narrative. The narrative is it's not immune to cycles. It's not digital gold. But the speculation is that it will be. But it's not. It's just not right now.
Hey,
And I'm a
Ben.
believer. Go ahead,
Hey,
Rich.
Ben. Yeah, I just a question because this is, for me at least, and maybe a few others, it feels like the first, uh, like bear market that I've been involved in. So, I mean, I know you've been involved in some of the prior ones. What's different? What do you see that's different now, if anything? I'm just curious.
Really just the gold thing is what's throwing me off. There's nothing different from a Bitcoin standpoint other than we haven't seen any collapses. I think by now we should have had, like, at this point in the bear market last time, Terra Luna collapsed or was collapsing. So we haven't seen that yet. Price action is the exact same. It's identical.
I have a question to feed off of that.
Well,
I
hold on.
wanted to
Let's make sure.
sorry.
Rich is good first.
Yeah, no, I know you mapped out when you look back at the 2021 pattern, you can see it. It's like fucking identical.
Yeah, we haven't had any villains yet. We haven't had exchange. Remember it was like, maybe you weren't here, but Celsius and Terra
Yeah.
Luna and BlockFi and
Voyager.
It was just like
It's a cascade of
everything
American
was freaking
businesses failing.
collapsing, dude.
Yeah.
Everything was failing, and it was people were having monies locked on exchange. They couldn't get it. So that part is different for right now. I don't think I would venture to guess there's going to be some failures and there's going to be some villains that pop up this cycle and some things that we're probably not going to like coming ahead. We just ain't there yet.
think the
That's
villain's
the
the
biggest difference
cycle where all the
that I
meme
see.
coins guys rugging everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
mean,
gonna say this one was a big meme cycle, but they're probably gonna be dead after this.
pump.fun.
Right.
Yeah.
There weren't like exchange collapses, right? When you look at what's happened over the last 3 or 4 months, it's not an exchange collapse.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
think
it's
we
very-
missed the follow-up bull run was in the stock market. There is dozens and dozens of micro caps that went from mid-millions of dollars to billions. I just think the money flowed elsewhere this cycle at the end, the last 18 months. And that's the interesting part to me.
Because it didn't flow into altcoins.
Yep.
I mean, could the villain be that we're in a debt crisis?
Yes.
It could be a lot of
Could
things.
be. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but that also brings me back to, an even bigger question is would we have ended up at 15K regardless if Terra Luna never collapsed and FTX never collapsed? I obviously I don't know the answer to that, right? But that's the question that I'm asking. Like, did we just get there quicker because of those things? Would it have been the same? Would the outcome have been the same? We just got there quicker. We got pushed to those levels quicker because of all those things.
I think that's it.
And again, I don't know the answer. I mean, none of us do because
And
we don't have.
what's the old adage is show me the news or show me the price action, I'll show you the news. Like a lot of us saw it coming. We were screaming from the top of the hills, but what we didn't know what was in the way to let it get there, right? Like a lot of us called those weekly, just that little weekly order block that we came down into, and it came a little lower than that, right? That 20K area.
I'll tell you this too, Rich. This is actually what I was thinking of earlier this afternoon. I made more money in the last bear market than I'm making right now. And I did that because I was hyper focused on, or not hyper focused, sorry, but I was trading breaks, I was trading bounces, where now I'm specifically SFPs. And I guess that's tough because it's not that I made more money, I was more active in the market. So I guess it seemed like I made more money. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I feel like I took better advantage of it, not necessarily from a dollar standpoint, but from like a trading standpoint.
I think we were more focused on the news cycle of it all. Right. I tune a lot of the news out these days. Like, and what I mean by that is I'm not looking at Twitter a whole lot for crypto stuff or trading stuff. I'm looking at, what's coming up on the daily Fed numbers and things like that. Like if you just watched crypto Twitter last cycle, it was like everybody's just selling. It wasn't, Twitter right now is, or X, whatever, excuse me. This is generational bottoms right here. Everyone's like, it's the bottom. It's the bottom. It's the bottom. The last cycle was, we're going to zero, bros. And it went the whole way from 70K to, 15K, and nobody was screaming the bottom was in. Everyone was just like, it's just going to zero. And we deserve it. That was kind of the sentiment.
I think what's like curious to me is like a lot of the ISM, right, was above 50, which historically has led to a pump. No. Bitcoin is like the M2 is increasing, Bitcoin is like dumping relative to the M2. So massive divergence there. So everything, but a lot of things feel very broken in terms of correlation. That's what I'm struggling to make sense of because
that's
nothing,
kind of my point that I was trying to.
In my mind, nothing fucking makes sense right now.
That's the point that I'm trying to make. That's the point where, is Bitcoin a digital gold or a store of inflation? I don't know. Does Bitcoin follow the M2 money supply? Well, if it did, we wouldn't be down $60,000. It's like the realist in me is like, yes, I believe in Bitcoin long term. Do I think in the next cycle we're not going to break 100? Of course, we're going to break 126K and go higher. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it hasn't proved to be any of these things yet. I hope one day it is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
It's more of a feeling for people than a reality of it. I think the mind of a retail trader skips steps, right? Everyone's just like institutional adoption's here. Well, what does institutional adoption look like? Well, what's happening right now in the crypto space for institutional adoption? Does anybody want to answer that question?
Michael
Say the
Saylor's
question
buying
again?
and ETFs
No, it's not.
are
It's stable coin deployment. That is what's happening right now. They are writing new stable coins. The banks are all doing their own stable coins. It's a stable coin environment right now. Everyone's getting their money in place in a stable coin for the next cycle. JP Morgan's got one. Grayscale's got one. Everybody's got a stable coin. And what my fear of that is it's become everything we didn't want.
Well,
it to
maybe
be.
that's why gold's going up so much, right? Because didn't you say that gold is like trying to beat out the dollar, ideally, right? You know, the dollar doesn't want to look weak in front of gold, right? So gold's got to get up there and reprice itself. But now you got everybody and their grandma printing stable coins. Well, that's dollars, right? That's more dollars that
locking
are
them
going to
out.
be out in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but I think
I went to the
what
grocery
Brian
store
wants
today and
from-
they asked me to pay into Blooms. I was confused.
Yeah, I don't know that that's why gold's doing what it's doing. I don't think there's enough dollars in stable coins right now to, I mean, we're talking in trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of market cap on gold, right?
Oh, I wasn't comparing it to gold. I was just saying at the crypto space in general.
Yeah, no,
Can I-
it's tiny. It's like a start. It's the
Yeah, I
beginning.
think like so the banks are so against the Clarity Act because I mean if you have whatever $50,000 in your savings account, what are you getting? 0.01%, but then you can get a yield on a stable coin for 5, 10,
Should we address
15.
the?
That's why the banks are fighting it. It's a,
They are, yes.
It's like a survival thing for the banks. So it's,
Yeah, Brian Armstrong signed off. He doesn't even like it.
It's an inflection point.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can get more, you can park USDC on Coinbase and get more money than a high yield savings account right now,
9% right
Exactly.
now.
Yeah,
which is insane, right?
that's the threat,
Why wouldn't a bank fight that?
right?
It's making them obsolete. Do we address the rumor mill on the good old X today? Was Binance is the bad guy of the cycle? I think you got to show me.
I think it's really weird that CZ is personally DMing people, telling them to cease and desist. Like when I think
are the
about it
DMs
logically,
real?
yes, they're real.
Oh, you mean Binance is insolvent? That tweet?
There's a lot. There's a rumor, and like let's just say what it is. It's a rumor that Binance is insolvent, and a lot of big names in the space and in finance are tweeting that. So Binance has been sending out cease and desist letters, and a lot of people have shown the actual cease and desist letters.
Yeah.
And my thought is, like, if you don't have anything to worry about, why is the CEO of your company in people's DMs telling them to stop?
I mean, this is kind of how uninterested I've been in crypto Twitter, but is he even the CEO? I thought he wasn't allowed to go back to the company.
No, he is allowed to go back to the company now. I don't know that he's the CEO now, but I think like the pathway has opened up. Dude, if you don't think CZ is involved in Binance,
I mean, I just don't know. I guess my next question would be, if they're insolvent, they must have bet on altcoins and not Bitcoin, right?
so here's the next question. I got a better question for everyone.
I mean, Binance
Why is BNB holding up so well compared to every other shitcoin? How? When I've never had one person on a live stream ask me to chart BNB. I've never heard anyone speak about BNB. How is it holding up so well compared to everything else?
synthetic?
And I don't know the answer to that, but I think I think it's a fair question to ask.
Cartel.
It is down 50%.
Right, but compared to everything, this does not look like any other crypto out there.
Correct. Every other crypto out there is making lower lows right now past the last bear market. If it was around.
So what does that mean if they're insolvent? They just have to go bankrupt and sell the company, or
Well,
Well,
you
I
instill
think
panic. You
depends.
instill sell-offs. Like, people's money gets locked up in the craziness of it all again. I don't. I mean, the good thing is I think most of us are shielded from Binance, right? We're not even allowed to trade there.
And again, that's a rumor.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? None of it. They could just be fine. I just think the weird part is him DMing people. Like, if you got nothing to worry about, what are you doing? Spending your days DMing influencers?
Little man syndrome.
Do you know if all the smaller exchanges have their own money, or are they like somehow like Binance is on the back end funding their little exchange for them?
I don't understand the question. All the exchanges are separate.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. That's why I was wondering, because you know how like there's some like middle people in different businesses that, you know, they don't have stock on a thing or they don't have a thing, but they market advertise a product that involves it, but they source it from somewhere else. I just wasn't sure if that was the way it is with like exchanges, right? Like, does Binance have a crap ton of money for 6 podunk exchanges, you know, below it? And they're just on the back end, you know? It doesn't matter.
Just bounces from here and goes back to 125k. It's gonna. It hears us talking about him. Yeah, TRX
think
is
I know
another
you're
one that
talking
holds
about.
up pretty high. So I'm just looking at
Some
chat
of
here
the
on the stream.
exchanges have that I partnered with. It says like partnered by Binance or something like that. So I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, some of them like Binance will be a partner, but partner is a very loosely thrown around word too. Well, Binance, like the BNB chain of Binance, they invest in. I mean, it's SafePal's BNB, right? Binance.
Mm-hmm.
Like they invest in a lot of companies. They gobble up startups.
I mean, it's the head of it's 80% of crypto, man. It would be terrible if they were not in good shape.
And probably more if you take in all their like little subsidiaries and
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the capitulation crash of Bitcoin is Binance going under.
that'd be so much worse than FTX, man. We
Yeah.
all hope Binance doesn't go under. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. That's even more you sit and think about that one, it might not be good.
Was it CZ the one tweeting about FTX, and that's what started it? Is it possible he's afraid of the same thing? That's why he's DMing everybody.
No, they had a rivalry. Him and Sam were like constantly at each other's necks between FTT token and BNB token. And, you know, at this point, we just know he knew what Sam was doing and he just got him caught. Sam ran his mouth and CZ stuck his foot up his ass for him. It's pretty wild time, man. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Dude, how about it, man? Like, just watching that whole thing unfold was wild.
Yeah, I think it was like so much news going on back then too, right? So you'd hear of like some project in trouble and you could just hit short on it and make money.
Yeah.
Like we haven't had that yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
But also,
But don't we
it's just all of
think
them.
like back then it was retail and now there's real money playing in Bitcoin?
well, sure. Yeah, I think we're talking more about altcoins than Bitcoin. I think altcoins is still heavily retail, right? Like
Oh,
why didn't we have
100%.
an
Yeah, I mean,
why didn't we have an altcoin season? Well, retail was just nowhere to be found. I think at the end of the day, like we didn't see the typical inflow. Like you did a little bit. You saw some inflows from Bitcoin into altcoins. And that's I think what even made any of them move. But retail was just nowhere to be found.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I remember we had the conversation about there's not going to be Bitcoin ETF inflows rotating into crypto. They're going to rotate the cash or another ETF. So watch the ones that are ETFs. And I think the fact that Ether only had an ETF is part of the reason it's held up so well. because it was still able to rotate into that from the other ones.
Grisham's law, you know, bad money drives out good. That's where I think we're at.
Yeah, that's the whole fear and greed index, right?
Yeah, I mean, the dollar. Nobody wants. I mean, if you had $1 billion and you're in Africa, where are you putting your money? I mean, you're not going to put it in the U.S. dollar in a savings account. You're not going to buy real estate in your country. I mean, it's just. I think we're just so early.
That's my hope too, Brian. I hope I'm super early.
Yeah.
We are. I mean,
If it becomes a $1 million asset, I'm in pretty good shape.
Every bear market, it always feels like this. It's unexplainable or whatever, and the sentiment goes into the tubes. But I don't know. I
don't
mean,
disagree.
this is my second one, and it was the same way when Bitcoin was at 16,000. Everybody was calling it, you know, it was dead, whatever. But now we have institutions. When Bitcoin's in a pension fund for a teacher or a firefighter, politicians aren't going to let it go away.
Why not? I mean, what happens if, you know?
So, I mean, it's a deeper conversation, but there's only two ways out of a debt spiral. It's austerity or you print. And austerity means you don't get reelected. So are we going to cut Social Security? Are we going to cut defense? Or are we going to print money, run GDP hot, let assets run, and hope AI is the deflationary tool that everybody says that it is? I mean, if you cut public spending, if to get 2 trillion out of the deficit, military retirements are gone. I mean, you're talking, we can't cut enough to balance the budget. And if you accept that premise, then you have to print the money. If you have to print the money, inflation is going to continue. And if you take the M2 money supply, you put it on the S&P 500, they almost match. So that means if you invested in the S&P 500, all you did was preserve purchasing power. No, you have to beat the S&P 500 to actually be appreciating. And Bitcoin is one of the few assets that has shown that it has beaten the S&P 500 for the last 17 years. And I think what's happening right now is institutions are here. The boat, retail actually beat Wall Street, and Wall Street didn't like it, and they're bringing the boat back to the dock.
Yeah, they will never let that happen again.
But then the question is, do you think any serious central bank will ever own something where Michael Saylor controls the float?
See, I don't view Bitcoin as an asset, but as the network. And I know I'm probably, regurgitating things, but it's the power of the network. If you live in Venezuela, I mean, I fly to these places where their currencies inflate 20% overnight. We as Americans just don't even understand what that is. Down in Miami, there
I
are
mean,
Bitcoin ATMs where people are sending money back to their country in Bitcoin just to preserve what little they have. And being the world reserve currency for the last 60 years since Bretton Woods, we have just grown naive to what's actually happening. During COVID, we devalued every currency in the world by printing. And the world said, whoa, I don't like this. And then, I mean, it's a deep conversation, but when we put sanctions on Russia, we
Yep.
literally said US treasuries aren't the safest asset. And the world
Yep.
said, you know what? We're going to buy gold. And now gold is flying and our markets haven't adjusted yet. And I just go back to until the thesis on the Bitcoin network is broken by quantum or something that's actually mechanical, it's Grisham's law. Bad money drives out good. People don't spend good money, they save it, right? Like that's coin clipping, that goes back to the Romans. I just think we live in a very fiat world where we think in 50-year time frames, but we've only been off the gold standard since 71. I mean, that's our lifetime. We don't remember what a gold hard money asset even looks like. And I think we're relearning it, and it's a very hard lesson.
Actually, Brian, so from what I understand, like the US, off the gold standard, like values gold at, in terms of Fort Knox, at like $42 or thereabouts an ounce. So imagine like the actual market price today. So if they reset it, that's a crazy injection into the treasury, and you wouldn't have to print money.
Yeah, I mean, Bassett and Trump have talked about that. I mean, they've said if we reprice gold, it eliminates a lot of the debt. But
So
that
then,
means that's the end
so
of being the world reserve currency, which
Yeah,
goes into the Trifton dilemma. I mean, these are, you know,
well, the obvious question is, well, why don't you do it? Right.
I agree, but I mean, I don't think we, I think Bassett, Trump, and Lutnick are doing it, and we're just not open to it. We're just not aware of it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the early long form podcasts of Bassett and Lutnick, they explained that Bitcoin solves a lot of the problems of gold, of transport, security, durability. I mean, you know, what is money? It goes back to a very fundamental question. What is money?
Yeah.
And Bitcoin solves a lot of these. I mean, a lot of these people trying to sell their gold, they walk in and they're at a 30% discount. They can't sell it at spot. The fact you can sell Bitcoin at spot, that alone solves a lot of problems. And I think just the average person just doesn't understand Bitcoin. And I go back to we're early. Institutions are seeing that it is a threat. I mean, Jamie Dimon and Larry Fink, the way their tone has changed in the 6-8 years that I've been in Bitcoin, I mean, it's a complete 180, and that to me is bullish.
Yeah. Yeah. What's curious to me is the Fed chair nominee and Walsh. I mean, he and Besson, they're like Druckenmiller proteges.
I mean, Bassett was with Soros. I mean, he was the guy that broke the Bank of England, and he's
Yeah.
on record as saying, "I don't want to be remembered as breaking the Bank of England. I want to be remembered as saving the U.S. dollar."
Yeah. But I mean, personally, I think it's really positive. You got two guys that came from the Druck and are very aligned. It's funny, people think Trump nominated Walsh. No, he didn't. Besson did. You know why? Because they're from the same ilk.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, Bassett and Trump are business people, and we haven't had business people in office in a long time.
Yeah.
That was a good little back and forth, gentlemen.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna end it there. We've been here for an hour. I think it was a good combo. I like Bitcoin, Brian. I hope you understand that.
Oh, of course. Yes. I love the debate. I mean, I could do this all night. I mean, it only strengthens the thesis. I mean, if you can't defend your position, then you know what I mean?
You guys have a good night. I'll see you guys in the morning. Eddie and